All right. Hello, everyone out there in Facebook world. Happy Monday. I'm excited to be here again with Coach Tiffany Heath. And we're going to chat with you today about 4 ways to strengthen your willpower. And I'm really excited for this topic. And I think you guys are going to have some great takeaways from this one. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Tiffany so we can get rolling.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one too because I feel like I'd say this one comes up like 90% of the time where I always hear I just need more motivation, or I just need to be more disciplined, where I need more willpower. And it's something I personally have struggled with in the past as well. And so maybe that's why it resonates so much with me. But I think all too often what I found, and especially just from again my own personal experience, when we think of willpower, we think of like it's something that we just do in the moment where we're just going to either resist that temptation, whether it's that, piece of chocolate cake or that brownie or that cookie or whatever it is, or anything, or it's that, trying to just force ourselves to be motivated and do something that maybe we don't want to do, like our workout in the moment, or setting our alarm for 5 a.m. And, I'm just going to have more discipline. I'm going to get up in the morning and get my workout in, and then it doesn't happen. And so I think it's just really easy to think of, in order to change those things, that we oversimplify it and think, well, I just need to be more disciplined, and then I'll be able to do it. And we're kind of missing the whole, I guess, the big picture. If we're just focusing on that moment of having more willpower, nothing's going to change. And so I wanted to share kind of the, I guess, four ways to kind of increase that willpower, but also point out that it is so much more than just in the moment. And it's about being strategic. It's about, let's just dive into those 4 steps, because I think that'll kind of give people a little bit better understanding kind of where I'm coming from when I talk about it's not just in the moment there. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if these are going to be if I need to do any particular order, but let's just start with the first one, which willpower, it's like a muscle basically. And the more we can intentionally practice using it in a strategic way, it gets stronger, it gets better. Now, going back to what I kind of talked about in the moment though, or before, about it just being something we use in the moment, the key here is we need to be strategic about the way we use it. And where it's like a muscle, I like the analogy of it being like a muscle, because just like a muscle, like if we went from being, not being able to do any push-up, for example, push-ups for that matter, and then just expecting, oh, one day I'm just going to be strong enough and I'm just going to be able to, push out 10 perfect push-ups. It doesn't work that way. We have to work at it. We have to strengthen that muscle. And the same is like willpower. So when it comes to strengthening that muscle, if we compare it like a muscle and being intentional about it, it doesn't mean just throwing ourselves into like some big thing where I'm just going to be strong, I'm going to be disciplined, and I'm just going to do it. You have to kind of ease into it, starting little bits at a time. But it only is going to get stronger if we're intentionally practicing it. Just like with exercise, or when we're trying to grow our muscles, we have to be working them regularly, consistently, in order for them to grow. And you wouldn't go start in the weight room, squatting 300 pounds your first day. You start out with just your body weight. You start small, you gradually increase that as you get stronger and build up. And the same thing is how we want to treat our willpower. So I'll start with that one. The second one that's critical to this is you need to basically shape your environment. I shared some research with my clients on a special mindset call that we did recently. And one of the things I shared with is that the research shows that people who I guess, are the most, appear to be the most disciplined, or kind of have things together, be able to do the things that, when it comes to their workouts or sticking to their nutrition plan and things like that. The people that do that easily are the ones that use self-control or willpower the least. And I loved it because one of my clients kind of was totally disagreed with that. She's like, there's no way. But then once we kind of explained and kind of got into the reasoning and kind of the why behind that, it made total sense, because it kind of came down to shaping your environment, using systems, basically making it easier to make the choice that you want to make that's going to help you reach your goals, and making it really inconvenient for you to make the choices that aren't going to help your goals. So it's not throwing ourselves in these situations that are overwhelming, where again we're just going to give in all the time. It's being very strategic about it. And so that's a big one. So for example, I could use share a couple examples. Like if you're someone who just really wants to get your workouts in first thing in the morning, because it seems to work well for you. And if you get it done in the morning, then you don't have to worry about doing it, later in the day. But getting up maybe half hour early or an hour earlier is just really difficult. And you find yourself all motivated, when you're thinking about it. But then when the morning comes and it's that 5 a.m. alarm goes off, it's easy to just be like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. So for example, shaping your environment in that type of example might be putting your alarm clock on the other side of the room. So you have to actually get out of bed, to go turn it off, or something like that. When it comes to food, having maybe some of your healthier options that you actually enjoy front and center, versus something that, the cookies or the chips or whatever, they're not the first thing that you see when you're hungry or stressed. And before I go to the other two, anything you want to add or any thoughts you want to share with those two, Dana?
No, I think you're rolling right along. I love it. I think with this one in particular, go back to Berardi's rule of, make it easy, right? Make it easy. And then also, if a food is in your possession or in your sight, it's going to be eaten, right? And so I think about this all the time. And I know I saw this in a Facebook post. It's easier to make one decision at the grocery store to say no to something than 100 decisions at home to say no to it. Right. Yes. So, and I know, people are they make themselves feel so badly because, the Oreos are sitting there, the chips are sitting there, and they feel bad because, they ate them. And, what I want to say to you is that's very normal. Who wouldn't want to eat them if they're sitting there? They taste good. They're made to taste good. People are paid a lot of money to make those things taste good. So it's all about shaping your environment. I love it. I love that, make it so that, the majority of your choices are in line with what your goals are. So keep rolling. You're doing great. Love
it. Okay. No, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. So those two, I think those first two may seem be really obvious. These next two might kind of have some people thinking what, really? But again, there's research to back this up. It's, I've noticed this through personal experience and through working with my clients. So the next one is managing your stress. Doesn't mean we can just, suddenly get rid of all our stress that we have or that we're dealing with in the moment, but learning to manage how we respond to that stress is critical, is key. And when we have high levels of stress, which most people do, not everyone, but a lot of people, we're under a lot of stress all the time. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. And so learning to kind of focus on what you can control versus what we can't control. And this might even, again, kind of go back to that shaping your environment, focus on what you can control. But it also, I want to maybe focus on when we can learn how to manage that stress a little bit, bring that stress level down, you're going to be in a better mind space to be able to make the better decision. And hence, kind of like I talked about at the beginning, it's willpower is like a muscle. Stress is one of the things that's going to weaken that. And so you're just going to be more, what's the word? Your cognitive function, you're able to make better choices when you are, I don't want to say under less stress, because that's just not always an option, right? We can't just necessarily take away some of the stress. So it really is learning how to manage that better. And one of the key things that you can do with that to help you manage that stress better is to just make sure, again, it all comes to back to being intentional about our goals and being intentional about managing that stress. So that may mean you're taking, a few minutes, a couple times a day to do some breathing or some meditation, or just going outside to just take a breath of air, going on a short walk. And it doesn't have to be, it could be some bigger things like, spending some time to go get a massage or things like that. Or, but, even those little amounts of de-stressing throughout the day can really make a big difference when it comes to being able just to kind of make the better choice in that situation. And it really, I think, goes back to being proactive with this versus trying to just be strong in the moment. So, if you know that, let me use the example of one of my clients. She can kind of tell if she's been managing stress and sleep, because by the time she gets to Friday, if she hasn't been, she notices that she literally just doesn't care. She'll just, if the chocolate's there, whatever, she'll just go for it. But if she has worked throughout the week on, again, just those little moments of de-stressing, and maybe getting just even 15 more minutes of sleep on 3 out of the 5 nights during the week or whatever, she notices that when she gets to Friday, she's still tired, but she is able to just, I guess, exercise that willpower, that self-discipline much more easily than when she's tired. Which brings me to the last one, which is sleep. And just like we hear about, not drinking and driving, same thing with impaired driving. Like if you are distracted driving, where, no, impaired, sorry, that is right. Where you are not, if you are sleepy, you're not as alert, when you're behind the wheel. And the same thing applies in our lives. If we're chronically sleep deprived, it's just going to be so much harder. Our brains just don't work the same way as when we do get enough sleep. We're just able to make better choices, especially in the moment. And so again, even if you're just getting that 15 minutes extra sleep, 3 times a week, you don't have to necessarily think about overhauling everything all at once. It really does add up. So that's basically the 4 steps, or I don't want to say 4 steps, 4 tips on ways to increase your willpower. So it's like a muscle. You got to be intentional. You got to practice it, but start small. Then again, shaping your environment, managing your stress, and just trying to get enough sleep so you can feel like you're able to think, you're able to make those decisions. And those 4 things, I think, really make a huge difference when it comes to increasing your capacity to have more willpower and self-discipline in the moment. So there we go.
Yeah, I love it. And I think those last 2, especially, getting your stress and your sleep under control, can really help manage that decision fatigue.
Yes.
Yes. And so that is something that's big when it comes to willpower, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're constantly having to make decision after decision after decision, and then you're fatigued and you're stressed on top of it, it makes it more challenging. So managing your stress, especially in ways that kind of minimize the decisions that you have to make as well. Lay out your exercise clothes, do a little meal prep on the weekends, make it easy, buy the if you want to do a protein on your salad at lunch, like buy the chicken ahead of time, do the ready-made, whatever makes it so that you don't have to be at work and everyone's ordering out and you didn't bring your food that day because you didn't prep. So, thinking about ways where we can eliminate that decision fatigue. So I think those last two especially fall in, but definitely some great takeaways, I think, with this one that people can start to implement immediately.
Good. I hope so.
So,
I hope so.
yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So, we got a couple comments, but no additional questions. So hopefully that's a good thing. I think that this one was pretty clear and concise. So, anything going on your end, Tiffany, coaching wise right now?
Not yet, or not now. I should say
Not now.
not
You're kind of in the middle of a program, I think, just like I am, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll always, as we always do, we'll drop our link to our free groups in the comments, and that you can always reach out to either of us if you have a question. We're here. We'll actually be back next Monday, right?
Yes.
I think we're back.
Yep.
Yeah, we're back next Monday. So we're a little off schedule right now. So we'll be back at you next Monday. If you have something you'd like us to talk about, or if you have a question, just let us know and we'll get that into the rotation for you on these Monday lunch bites.
Perfect. Thanks,
all right.
Dina.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.